If you've sold a house before, you might have been blindsided by a buyer sending you a termination out of nowhere. And we are seeing more and more of these in today's market, and it's very frustrating, but I like to set expectations with my sellers and be proactive so we can try to address some of the areas of concerns that might come up with a buyer while they are in their due diligence process. Quick list of the 12 reasons that we see the most terminations. They are appraisal issues, old electrical, old plumbing, water intrusion, the roof is not in good condition, we've got mold, pests, some disclosure errors, bad renovations, poor quality. We've got some water that is potentially getting into the home, hazardous conditions, and then mold. So quickly I'll go through those in a little bit more detail. Now appraisals, let's go ahead and price the house in such a way that that won't be an issue when we look at the market value in general. Secondly, how's our electrical? Do we have some safety concerns? Do we have over-tapped wires? How old is our panel? Are things labeled? Let's go ahead and take care of those things. In terms of our plumbing, do we have an old original sewer line going to the street? Do you have galvanized pipes? Repair any active leaks prior to listing. This is an easy fix. Take a look at your roof and go ahead and get that bacteria that's off the roof at a minimum, and certainly make sure that we have no active leaks from our roofs. Roofs are very expensive to repair. And when was the last time you actually stepped foot in your attic? Looked for some old pest traps that might be up there that you might have forgotten about. Have you heard the squirrel running around in your attic? Let's go ahead and take care of those things because they leave droppings, and certainly no buyer wants to buy a house with extra guests. If you've got mold in the house, mold always comes from a source of water. Go ahead and figure out where is the water coming from, and then you can address the mold accordingly. What about when you did those repairs to the home or renovations? Were they done in a high quality manner? So, if they maybe weren't, then you probably should price your home accordingly, because you don't want the buyer to start uncovering things during due diligence and realize that maybe you cut a few corners and really the value isn't there. Is there any potential water issues? Do we have areas for water intrusion where we've got lack of proper seals around doors and entries? Are our gutters diverted away from the home to get the water running away from the house? And did you disclose properly when you filled out that disclosure? Sometimes sellers forget things, and certainly we want to make sure that everything we can remember we disclose. How's the structural condition of the home? How is the deck? Do we need to have a civil engineer look at anything that we might have concerns about from a structural perspective? And then lastly, if you live in a floodplain or maybe near a natural gas pipeline, those might be considered hazardous conditions by a buyer and something they would uncover during due diligence that they didn't know about prior. And let's go ahead and better understand those and price your home accordingly. So feel free to reach out to me if you've got any other questions or concerns about why a buyer might terminate during due diligence and how you can be proactive about getting on top of these things before that disappointment. Thank you.